Assalamualaikum and hello. Welcome to my video presentation about my individual assignment from construction technology. Before I start my presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Aiman SHAQIR bin ALIAS. My matrix number is 284817, and I from construction technology BTC to Bjtc 2023 class B. The first, I would like to present about the project lifecycle. What is a project lifecycle? The project lifecycle is a four-step framework designed to help project managers guide their project successfully from start to finish. The purpose of the project lifecycle is to create an easy to follow the framework to guide the projects. There is a four phase from the project lifecycle. The first is a conceptual phase. The second is planning phase. The third is a execution phase, and the last one is a termination phase. The first phase is a conceptual phase, or we can call it as a project initiation stage. The conceptual phase is the first phase of the project lifecycle in which an idea is preliminary evaluated. Preliminary analysis of risk is the most important part of the phase, which significantly influence the cost, time, and performance requirement as a result. Risk analysis also seriously affect the resources of the company. The first cut at the feasibility of effort is also included in the conceptual phase. There is a few key project management steps for the this phase. The first is identifying project objective. The second is outlining project risk. The third is the establishing project scope. Fourth is submitting a project proposal. The last one is estimate the organization is willing to commit. The next is planning phase. The planning phase is also very important because the project manager has to plan the entire project in an effective manner. If you have a perfect plan to perform a task only, then it is possible to excel in it. And there is a few things we can get from the planning phase. The first is define the project organization approach. The second is define project target. The third is prepare the schedule for the execution phase. The fourth is define all allocated tasks and resources. The last one is with the project teams. The next phase, or we call as a third phase, is the execution phase. The project execution stage is the true start of the project. When you carry out all the tasks and activity, you made out in the planning stage. In the execution phase, we do perform the work on the project, monitor and control the execution. The third is adjust and update tasks, goals, and deadline to meet the changing conditions. The last is communicate between team and the project stakeholders. The project execution phase is the true start of the project. When you carry out of the tasks and activity, you map out in the planning stage. This is where the majority of the project work take place, and it requires constant monitoring. Expect to adjust your goals and roadmap as you get deeper into the project. The next is, or the last phase is termination phase. Termination phase, or we call as a project closure stage, is once you will achieve your project goals and the result have been signed off on by your stakeholder. It's time for the project closure stage. In the project closure stage of the project management process, You will hand off the deliverables, release team members and project resources, and analysis project performance in a proactive retrospective. A project retrospective is much about reviewing the success of the project as it is about extracting the learning that can apply to future project. Project will never go without the obstacles, and there will always be things to learn that will ease the progress of other projects. There are many ways to run a project retrospective meeting, but you should try to identify your biggest wins and lose and come up with solutions. If you are an external consultant, you might ever ask your client for feedback. Next, we will go to the activities involved during the construction projects. Um, Construction project, we have a construction supervision. The main is a continuous oversight, inspection and coordination of the work in timely, professional, competent manner to ensure the compliance with the approved construction document. Contract document applicable regulations, project schedule, and all other applicable requirements. The words refer to all such construction and services, whether performed by the builder or a subcontractor, force necessary to complete the project. Supervision may be performed by an individual or individuals. Uh, Construction supervision, we have preliminaries. Preliminaries is a construction contract or prelims by a typical taken to mean the section in the base of quantity which group together items which are necessary for the contractor to complete the works, but will not actually become part of the work, such as a scaffolding, plan, water, the cost of power to the site and other site overhead. The next is demolition. Demolition is simply the safe and careful removal of existing building and structure in order to utilize the land for another use. It can be either completely demolishing a structure or dismantling part of a structure that is load bearing in order to reuse or recycle components. We have a few demolition like total demolition. Total demolition is the demolition of an entire structure or site. This would be most common in the case of community destruction. For example, if there was an old retail center that was not benefiting an area, the land could be used to build a housing estate to provide additional housing for the community, and therefore demolition would be instructed. The next is selective demolition. Selective demolition is removing a specific parts of building. Some old buildings stand the test of time and other dance. In this case, perhaps there is a really old section of a workplace or local amenity that is not performing as it should, but the entire building is not a state of concern. The next is excavation. Excavation is the equipment habitats of removing the earth from the elected area in order to make room for the foundation. Depending on the depth and hardness of the soil, the trench may need to be reinforced as earth is removed. If the earth is extremely loose, planking will be put in place to hold the sides until the foundation can be poured. The next is concrete. Concrete is the process of pouring concrete is another major activity in construction. It is often used for the base building for road, bridges, pipe and many other applications. Next is finishes. Finishes are used in the final parts of construction and manufacturing process. forming the final surface of an element. They can protect the element they finish from impact, water, frost, corrosion, abrasion, and so on. The next is MNE word, or we call as mechanical and engineering, refer to the mechanical and electrical system installed and operated by the facility management company in facility management. The next is external works, and is described primarily the area immediately surrounding the building, and provision included minor roads in housing stage, paved area, boundary walls, railing, fencing, and turf area. Next is activity in construction is construction activity. All of the activity involved in construction work together to create a great project, big building, and impressive structure. Not every activity is used in every project, but it is certain that several different activities are used in order to build a safe, efficient, and functioning structure for its user. Next is variation order, or VO. Variation order is a common phenomenon in construction project. It involves an amendment of the original scope of work as in the contract. The next is progress payment. Progress payment help company recover a portion of their cost along a project way, thereby maintaining a steady cash flow. Next is a certificate of practical completion. A certificate issued to the contractor by the superintendent or the superintendent's representative when the works under the contract have reached the stage of completion described in the general condition of contract. The last one is certificate of fitness, CF. The certificate of fitness for occupation is a certificate issued by the local authorities. A developer is usually allowed to hand over the vacant possession of a building to the buyer upon receiving the confirmation letter from the relevant authority, verifying from E has been duly submitted and approved by the appropriate authority. In construction, we have a few key players that help us to success our construction. So there is a few the key player in our construction. The first is the owner. The owner is also called a client. Owner is the person who actually arrange money for particular project. Owner is real instinct who has to launch idea. Owner may be a person or government. He provides funds. He is a funding agency for the project. A scope definition is also provided by the owner. Uh, in the construction, we have the designer. A designer is an organization or individual who business involve preparing or modifying design for construction project, or arranging for or instructing others to do this. Designer include drawing, design details, specification based of quality and design calculation. There is we will explain more about the designers such as architect, CNS engineer, MEP engineer, and QS or quantity surveyor. First is architect or planners. Architect create a design for new construction project uh, at the alternation and redevelopment. They use their specialist construction knowledge and high-level drawing skill to design buildings that are functional, safe, sustainable, uh, and aesthetically pleasing. Architects stay involved throughout the construction process and obtain their plans according to budget constraint, environmental factor, and client needs. The next is CNS engineer. He carry out a structure foundation analysis and design, coordinate with client and consultant on design, construction and submission aspect of project, attend technical site meeting to resolve design issue and site problems. The next is MNE, MNS, MNE engineer. MNE engineer is mechanical engineering. It is still a rather new service in Malaysia. MNE management is also more commonly known as building services here. However, this carry different meaning. This may lead most of you to question what mechanical and engineering is all about. To put it simply, mechanical engineering refer to the mechanical and electrical system installed and operated by a facility management company in facility management. The next is a QS, or we call as a quantity surveyor. The quantity surveyor is a construction professional. He or she is qualified and adequate trained to advise on all aspects of construction costs, financial and contractual administration. He or she is an expert on the cost and management of construction project, whether building, civil or heavy engineering. Next is the constructor. The the constructor is the responsibility of a contractor in construction is the execution of the work activities that are required for the completion of the project. The role and the responsibility is contractor manifest themselves in various aspects of the project, for instance, project planning, management, monitoring, construction site safety, and legal issue. The contractor also appoints subcontractor who have a special expertise to execute certain parts of the project that cannot be constructed by the contractor. Subcontractor involved in construction process based on services that they provide in the course of a construction project. In any construction, of course, we have project planning and controlling. What is construction planning? Construction planning is the first stage of the construction management, the discipline of taking a construction project from conception to completion. Construction management includes several other components that succeed planning. However, scheduling is deciding when to start, execute, and complete each task. Organizing is getting all the moving pieces in position to perform each task. Staffing is sending people to duties related to the project. Directing is ensuring that you complete tasks as planned, and monitoring is ensuring that you meet the requirement and performance benchmark set during the planning stage. If you don't meet this requirement, you will devote considerable time to the controlling stage, which involves managing the budget and meeting contract requirements. Project planning and one view of project planning divides the activity into this step: setting measurable objective, identifying the deliverables, scheduling, planning tasks. Next is project controlling. Project controlling is a project encompass the process, experience, people skills, and tools used to plan, manage, monitor, and mitigate any risk or event that may affect the cost and schedule of a project. And these control are the discipline and methodical process used to support project management methodologies that focus on controlling the schedule and cost of the project. A project control specialist clearly conveys the project status and direction from a schedule, cost and risk perspective by examining the trend and remaining focused on all areas within a project. Any approaching risk potential impacting the project schedule or budget are brought to the forefront initially for the team discussion and mitigation. Not only do this control clarify the gravity of crime, they rigidly document all facets of the project journey for future different. Why we need to do a plan or planning? Because we want first is focusing on the completion date. In the majority of construction project, contractor must focus on finishing a project by timeline that was put the contract. The second is pre-construction plan designates the objectives of the project. There no point in starting anything if you don't have a clear objective. Knowledgeable builder at a Wishbrook project say that something like this could be potentially catastrophic for any construction project. Next is work efficiency. It is safe to say that construction planning for sure enhance work efficiently by having efficient material management, decrease expense and save time. The last is planning estimate the cost of a project. The cost of any project is normally assessed during the planning phase. Season design with company usually give you a precise evaluation for the work to follow. Most importantly, this company will always do everything that in their power to stick to this evaluation throughout the whole project. It's of huge importance to develop a pre-construction plan because it will ensure that every single element the project cost is going to be accounted for. Furthermore, it also prevents any unpleasant things that may arise along the way. Next is project controlling procedure. We have a project plan. The second is project implementation. The third is measurement of work performance. The fourth is project control. The last one is project updating. Controlling process is project management is a method of keeping a project of on track and ensuring that appropriate standard and deadline are met. The process requires the project manager to collect and understand information about the project team. The next is this Gantt chart as one of project control or control. Gantt chart is what is a Gantt chart? Gantt chart is a bar chart allow you to visualize project activities over time. It's especially useful because it shows what work needs to be completed on specific day. Uh, Gantt chart allow project manager to determine at a glance current project progress and take any action to bring the project back to on a schedule. There is a few of the element of project controlling, forecasting, budgets, action plan, milestone, and tools. Next is the planning and scheduling process. First is we will identify the project activities, uh, as it estimate during of activity, develop the project plan, schedule project activity, reviews and analyze the schedule. If okay, we can go to the implement. If yes, if no, we can go to the second, the estimate during of activity or the develop the project plan. For my last part for my video is successful construction. What is a successful construction? It means the project will be considered as a success when the project is completed on time, within budget, and the quality is certified by all. Uh, a project uh, a project is success based on the aesthetic performance, and for a contractor, a project is success when the contractor get a profit from the project. Project will be considered as a success when the project is completed on time, within budget and the quality is satisfied by all. Success also can define as much better result than the expected or normally obtained in terms of cost, schedule, quality, and safety. The meaning of success itself has undergone many changes due to involvement of so many stakeholders in the nowadays complex project environment.